The government's announced that it has joined forces with former sports stars, health professionals and fitness experts to help an additional 3.5 million adults and children get physically active by 2030 as part of a major national activity drive. Huw Edwards is CEO of ukactive, which is the industry body for physical activity, leisure and fitness, and joins us this morning. Good morning, Huw.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I guess this is pretty welcoming news for you.
Yeah, I think there's clearly a real need to get the nation more physically active. So it was right and important that the government updated its sport and physical activity strategy from 2015. I think it's pretty obvious there's a public health crisis right now with obesity rates across children and adults, 1 in 8 people on waiting lists and 2.7 million people long-term sick from work. So improving the health and well-being of the nation and in turn helping create sustained economic growth, supporting the NHS, strengthening the fabric of communities must be central priority for this and future governments. And you're right, the role of sport, recreation and physical activity must be integral to this.
Yeah, you say intention is good, but it's all about the delivery. What do you mean by that? What needs to happen here?
Absolutely. Well, I think the language and the intentions in the strategy are positive, and I think that will be felt across the industry today. However, it needs to be married with strong delivery plans, which probably needs to be based around strong evidence and data from the sector to inform government decisions, clear channels of investment coming into the sector, a complete upheaval of tax and regulatory reform, and the implementation of bold public health plans. I know from ukactive's membership, which is predominantly gyms, pools and leisure centres, that creating a better economic landscape to operate in will drive economic growth and get millions more people active by the rest of the decades, alongside strengthening that relationship with the NHS. So the success of the targets in the strategy will be dependent on the strength of those delivery plans.
What has been the situation recently then, Huw, in terms of how active adults are, how active children are? We know that obviously COVID was problematic in terms of activity because a lot of the time you couldn't perhaps leave your house, you perhaps couldn't go to a gym because your gym wasn't open or your sports club wasn't open or running activities. So how crucial has COVID and the pandemic been in this needing a refresh?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So it's shone a light on some of those health inequalities which are there across the country, and obviously removing, some of the infrastructure that supports people's physical activity on a daily basis during the pandemic, but also the challenges in the energy crisis has been profound, and it shone a light on the importance of gyms, sports and leisure centres and other community facilities as well. And so there is a recovery going on. It is fragile. And so the continued support of government at central and local level is really important. But what we must see now from the strategy is a real delivery plan to really hit the ground running and really leverage the most out of this sector, because this sector can do so much in terms of supporting the economy, but also really taking pressure off the NHS. And so this is a really important moment. We're 12 months away probably from a general election as well. So our sector will be very clear in its asks over the next 12 months of all main political parties to make sure they deliver the best for the sector.
Yeah. And what is the situation facing specifically children in sport at the moment? We had an article, a couple of news stories, was it last week, that there's been cuts to PE hours. Many people thinking that they should be national concern. 4,000 hours were lost in state-funded schools in the last academic year. For children right now, is it becoming harder for them to stick in with sport and stick in with activity?
Yeah, absolutely. The PE numbers which were published a couple of weeks ago were very worrying, and this bridges back to this plan and the importance of putting in really a strong delivery plan to ensure that PE and the availability and the quality of PE in the school time is really important. But it's also more than that. It's all year round. How do we ensure that young people, especially from low income backgrounds, can access facilities, especially coming out of summer holidays? We've been working with partners on opening up school facilities this summer. And it shows the importance, especially for kids on free school meals, to be able to access those opportunities. We need this but at a lot bigger scale across the country, in order that we start getting the right habits at the youngest age into people around their health and well-being that they can carry through into adulthood as well.
Yeah, and the right habits is an interesting one, and we talk about it a lot, but how do we engage children that are very much part of this digital age where it is so easy to stay inside and be on your phone or your tablet or on any form of technology, rather than maybe what 20, 30 years ago, a lot of people would have been forced outside to play with whoever was there. And that simple amount of activity makes a huge difference at the end of the day. So how do you engage those children?
And it's the quality of the offer, or I think there's actually things you can learn from the digital solutions and the digital options that kids are using. There's a huge level of camaraderie there, and actually it's the offer and the proposition that we're providing all year round in terms of their interests and the diversity of options that they want to take in terms of being physically active, not necessarily exclusive for traditional sports, but through all different types of activity, and making sure it is accessible, it's affordable, and it creates that level of fun and excitement that they enjoy. We're going to be working with thousands of schools across the country on the 20th September for National Fitness Day for young people and older people across the country to really celebrate the importance of activity. So there's a starting point there.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That's Huw Edwards, the CEO of ukactive, which is the industry body for physical activity, leisure and fitness. You're listening to 5 Live Breakfast.